Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we are back with more of the Prose Edda. And today we'll be jumping into the Skaldskaparmal. So yeah, let's go ahead and start digging into this. The following translation from Skaldskaparmal is divided into two sections. The first, mythic and legendary tales from Skaldskaparmal, contains the major prose stories about the gods and heroes. The second section, poetic references from Skaldskaparmal, tells how to refer to gods, people, and things. Mythic and legendary tales from Skaldskaparmal. Part 1. Bragi tells Aesir stories of the gods. A man was named Aesir or Hlair. He lived on an island called Hlessi and was greatly skilled in magic. He set off on a trip to Asgard. The Aesir knew he was coming and they received him well, but much of what they showed him was fashioned through spells and shape changings. In the evening, when it was time to drink, Odin had swords brought into the hall. These shone so brightly that no other light was used while they sat at the drinking. The Aesir then went to their feast, and the 12 Aesir who were to be judges sat in their high seats. They were named Thor, Njord, Frey, Tyr, Heimdall, Bragi, Vidar, Vali, Ul, Honir, Forseti, and Loki. The goddesses who did likewise were Frigg, Freya, Gefjun, Idun, Gerd, Sigyn, Fula, and Nanna. To Aegir, it seemed that everything he saw around him was noble. Magnificent shields hung on the wallboards. Strong mead was served, and the drinking was heavy. Next to Aegir sat Bragi. They drank together and exchanged stories. Bragi told Aegir about the many things that had happened to the Aesir. Bragi began his storytelling by saying that 3 of the Aesir, Odin, Loki, and Honir, were once traveling from home and crossed mountains and deserts where they found little food. When coming down into a valley, they saw a herd of oxen, and taking one, they began to cook it. When they thought the meat was ready, they broke open the cooking pit and found the ox was not cooked. A while later, when for a second time they broke open the cooking pit, the meat was still raw. As they began asking each other what could be the cause, they heard a voice coming from above in an oak tree under which they were standing. The one who was sitting up in the tree said that he was causing the food to remain uncooked in the oven. Looking up, they saw an eagle sitting there, and it was not small. The eagle said, "If you are willing to give me my fill of the ox, the pit will cook." They agreed to this. Then the eagle glided down from the tree and landed on the pit. The first thing it did was to eat the ox's 2 thighs and both of its shoulders. This angered Loki, who picked up a large stick and, swinging it with all his might, struck the eagle. Recoiling from the blow, the eagle started to fly, but one end of the pole was stuck fast to the eagle's body, and with Loki hanging on to the other end. The eagle flew so low that Loki's feet dragged on the ground, striking stones, gravel, and trees, and he thought his arms would be pulled from their sockets. He called out, begging the eagle for mercy, but the bird answered that Loki would not be saved unless he swore an oath that he would find a way to lure Idun with her apples of youth out of Asgard. When Loki agreed, he was set free and returned to his companions. Nothing else is said to have occurred during the trip before they reached home. At the time agreed upon, Loki tricked Idun into leaving Asgard and going into the forest with him. He told her that he had found apples that she would find to be of great worth, and asked her to bring along her apples so that she might compare them. Just then the giant Thjalfi arrived in the shape of an eagle, and seizing Idun, he flew off with her to his home in Thrynheim. Idun's disappearance badly affected the Aesir and soon began to grow old and gray. The Aesir gathered together in an assembly and asked one another the news of Idun. They realized that she had last been seen leaving Asgard with Loki. Then Loki was seized and brought to the assembly, where he was threatened with torture or death. When he grew frightened, he said he would go into Giant Land and find Idun if Freya would lend him her falcon shape. Loki retrieves Idun from the giant Thjalfi. When Loki got a hold of the falcon shape, he flew north into Giant Land. He arrived at Thjalfi's on a day when the giant had rowed out to sea, but Idun was home alone. Loki changed her into the shape of a nut, and holding her in his claws, flew away as fast as he could. When Thjalfi returned home and found Idun missing, he put on his eagle shape and flew after Loki, the air booming with the sound of the eagle's flight. When the Aesir saw the falcon flying with the nut and the eagle in pursuit, they went outside to the walls of Asgard, carrying piles of wood shavings. As the falcon flew in over the fortress, it dived down alongside the fortress wall, and at the moment the Aesir set fire to the wood shavings. But the eagle, having just missed the falcon, was unable to stop himself before his feathers caught fire and he fell from the air. The Aesir who were nearby killed the giant Thjalfi inside the gate of Asgard, and this slaying is very famous. Skadi seeks vengeance for her father. Now Skadi, daughter of the giant Thjalfi, put on her helmet and coat of mail and, taking all her weapons of war, set out for Asgard to avenge her father. But the Aesir offered to reconcile and proposed compensation. First, she should choose a husband for herself among the Aesir, but she might choose only from the feet of the man, seeing nothing else. She saw that the feet of the man, of one man were especially beautiful, and said, I choose that one. Few things on Balder will be ugly. But that was Njord from Noatan. Another condition of her settlement was that the Aesir must do something she thought they could not do. Make her laugh. Then Loki tied one end of a cord to the beard of a goat and tied the other end around his own testicles. The goat and Loki started pulling back and forth, each squealing loudly, until finally Loki fell into Skadi's lap. And then she laughed. With this, the Aesir concluded their part of the settlement with her. It is said that Odin, to compensate her further, took Thjazi's eyes and cast them up into the heaven, where he made from them 2 stars, the inheritance of the giants. Then Aegir said, Thjazi seems to me to have been exceptionally powerful, but what are his origins? Bragi said, Olvaldi was the name of Thjazi's father, and if I were to tell you about him, you would find it a remarkable story. He had great wealth and gold, and when he died, his sons were to divide his inheritance. In dividing the gold, they measured their shares by taking the same number of mouthfuls in turn. One of them was Thjazi, the second Idi, and the third was Gang. From the story comes the expression whereby gold is referred to as the mouth count of these giants. We conceal this reference to gold in cryptic speech or poetic allusions by referring to it as the speech of the words or the count of these giants. Then Aegir said, It seems to me that this story is well hidden in secret lore. But we'll go ahead and end this episode here, because that'll take us into part 2. Yeah. We get a few stories about the gods early on and encounters with the giants. Encounters with the giants seems to be a common part of Norse mythology. And Skadi, her name being spelled Skadi, seems to be someone I remember us having mentioned in the Gylfaginning in the first book. I think it was talking about marrying Skadi. Or that might be the tale of Frey and the giantess Gerd. I swear I remember one talking about Skadi, though. Any other mention of Skadi? Ash Tree, Yggdrasil. Yeah, I don't, just kind of skipping through here, I don't see it up at, top anywhere. But, like I said, I could have swore I saw the name Scotty before. That's going too far back. I mean, even from what I'm getting here, the giants are not giants as we normally think of them. They're not all necessarily huge individuals, from what I can tell. Utgarda, Hymir. There's a lot of giants' names. I'm looking to see where I saw the name. Like I said, I swear I saw it at some point. I don't believe it's that far. It's the end of Ragnarok, the after effects. Anyway, like I said, I know there was a entity, one of the giants we had read upon named Scotty before. Again, my apologies. I am probably butchering the proper pronunciation. I do not speak ancient Norse, nor do I speak modern Norse. Whether it be what would Norway's language be? I guess it would be Norse. Maybe. Sweden is Swedish. Finland is Finnish. Anyway. But that'll be the end of this episode. As always, whoop, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I have no sources, so nothing to put in the description box below the video. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, later.